Hey, wrestling fans, welcome to the One Wing Wrestling Podcast, where two wrestling elitists discuss or review AEW events and wrestling news from around the world. At One Wing Wrestling, our motto is, we go where the elite go. I'm your host, Krishna and joining me today is Mr. Bill Cutbush. Bill, how's it going?
It is going like an arm drag by Chris Jericho. Does
Or
that make
arm
any sense
bar?
at all?
Arm bar?
No, an arm
No,
drag. I
arm
meant
drag?
arm drag. Yeah, he knows the
Okay,
arm drag too. He knows 1,004 holds.
that's true.
Yeah. No, it's going really well. It's going really well. It was a good day. Yeah, I can't really say there's much. I mean, all I did was schoolwork, work, read wrestling stuff. so so yeah, pretty typical. How was your day?
You know what? Same. Actually, it's funny. You said I literally just finished an assignment for class, and yeah, just schoolwork, and then you're right, wrestling updates and wrestling stuff, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a lot of wrestling.
Yeah, which means that we'll both be ready to, you know, talk about tonight's show, predict
Hmm.
some matches like we always do, talk about some news of the week, and then go watch Dynamite, come back, and review the show. Some notes though, right off the top. I just want to mention we are changing our format because,
Hmm.
as you guys may have noticed, we tend to get into a lot of discussions about news before this podcast, before we get into Dynamite, and we'd like to let you guys get a little bit more Dynamite and a little bit less news on Wednesdays. So, as of I guess what 2 weeks from now,
Yeah,
the Monday show will be changing over to a one-winged wrestling show that will be, well, for now, it'll be about news and notes,
news. Yeah,
keeping up with the elite essentially, and looking back at some AEW content, probably some New Japan content, any place where we can find the elite and the wrestlers that we love. So look for
agreed.
that in a couple weeks. And yeah, we look forward to bringing you even more wrestling here.
Yeah, and we thought about this because we're not saying you guys don't want to hear us blab on for 2 hours plus. But we think they know it. Maybe smaller doses, like let's say hour per podcast. Maybe you guys might appreciate that. And plus, you're getting it more frequent, right? It's not just a one time, once a week. Like it's more frequent. And I think this gives us enough time to actually maybe let some of our things breathe a bit, right? Because I do feel sometimes on our Wednesday podcast, we do continue like start off the news, and sometimes we do have a lot to say about the news, and that does kind of drag on them. We have to like really rush to get our predictions in,
Quick
right?
predictions, 5 minutes.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
I really think this format's going to be great, and yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun times.
Yeah. And I'm
But
not,
Bill,
yeah.
we are experiencing some fun times right now.
We are experiencing some fun times right now. We have a lot about the elite to keep up on, do we not?
Oh, we do.
So let's get into the news, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, I have an update on the investigation. Some of it is straight out from this afternoon. Okay.
Okay.
So live this afternoon on the Wrestling Observer Live podcast, Brian Alvarez has reported that anyone who was sent home that had anyone who was sent home who was just involved in breaking up
Mhm.
the melee that happened after All Out,
Yeah.
they are more than likely, as of now, off suspension. The phone calls are
Oh,
going out.
okay.
Pat Buck was seen backstage at AEW, and Brandon Cutler for sure is also no longer
Good.
suspended, which
Good.
is just that is the
Good.
best news ever. Brandon Cutler is back, guys. The best wrestler in AEW makes his return. Anyone who was actually involved in the fight will still be on suspension.
Fair enough.
So I think that's pretty good news, right?
Yeah. It's good news that some things are getting resolved. Like we did kind of question, like Pat Buck, Christopher Daniels, Brandon Cutler. Like, why were they suspended? If realistically, let's thinking about this, and even Michael Nakazawa, they're most likely trying to break up the fight, right? They
Mhm.
were they weren't there throwing fists or anything like that. So it was
Or
kind of odd
chairs.
that they all got suspended. So I'm
Mhm.
glad some resolutions coming. Like these guys, like they really were just trying to help.
Mhm.
And I'm glad that's at least getting resolved a bit.
Yeah,
But
and I
yeah,
mean
good news.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it shows the investigation's progressing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
there's what's happening, they're making progress. I mean, in some other stuff around it this week, we saw BTE being the Elite went on hiatus. Apparently Punk and the Elite have been pulled from all AEW advertising now,
Mm-hmm.
including all the way up to the pay-per-view, which is still months away. So
Oh
that was
wow.
that
Oh
was a pretty
wow.
big change. Yep.
That is a pretty big change. Obviously it's not what you want to hear. Like this is just giving obviously the WWE trolls just, ammunition, right? To go after
Hmm.
AEW fans. At this point, really, we don't know what's gonna happen. Like
No.
all we know as of right now is that these guys are suspended. We
Yep.
know that CM Punk is no longer the champion because he can't wrestle,
Right.
right? And that's going to be for another 8 months. We know the Bucks are suspended. We know Omega's suspended. And that's basically all we really know, right? I mean,
Yep.
like the latest is that Kenny is in Japan right now for TGS, the Tokyo Game Show, which starts
Hmm.
tomorrow, obviously to promote the game. But like, if you're suspended, does that impact your appearances though? Like
Well, it impacted his appearance on that Swerve podcast.
yes, it did. It did. Um, but so I'm wondering maybe this is just contractual agreements with THQ and the gaming company.
And it's also a gaming company, not wrestling,
Yeah.
right? I mean, he's
Well,
over there to promote games,
well, it's funny
wrestling
because
games.
apparently he was on a Sega commercial recently,
Oh yeah.
like just like the last day or so. And it's just him talking about like a game. It was
Hmm.
Yakuza, right? So he's gonna be in the game. So I mean, it has nothing to do with wrestling, so that's fine. Um, but yeah, something else that I thought that he is uh, was supposed to be appearing for other events as well, and those have been placed on hold and everything. So
Hmm.
I don't know, weird times right now. Just weird
Right.
times.
And of course, the WWE trolls delighted this week
Of
in
course.
creating a rumor out of nothing around the Young Bucks as well, right? It's interesting. Dave Meltzer said point blank on the Wrestling Observer report this week, like the podcast version of it, that he said the Bucks have denied the story. The Bucks have told him that it's untrue. That they have, of course, they talk to people in WWE. They have friends at WWE, right?
Yeah.
But what Meltzer said, that's not unusual for them to talk to people in WWE, but they denied reaching out the way that the
Yeah.
rumors had stated. And he also said, the story is they called a talent in WWE and asked that talent to reach out or connect them to Triple H. And he said that doesn't add up. Right. Because
Hmm.
listen, in 2018, they spoke extensively to Triple H during negotiations. Okay. They were in contact with Triple H in 2018.
Yeah.
They have his number.
Yep.
They know how to get a hold of him. They
Yep.
don't need an intermediary. The story
Exactly.
doesn't make any sense at all. It
Hmm.
just smells like trolling all
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And also just so that you can have a nice clear head about it, there's no indication Kenny Omega was involved in any of that.
Yeah,
So,
I know, I know. And
yes.
the thing is that when that I guess article or that report came out, quote
Hmm.
unquote reports.
Yeah, quote
Yeah,
unquote.
for me, first off, I was like, wait, the Bucks are jumping ship from a company they helped create so quickly. And again, as you just said, 2018, 2019, guess what, guys? They could have signed with WWE
Hmm.
and chose not to. And if you listen to Matt Jackson's like interviews on what he remembers from his tryout days at WWE, it's not very pleasant. So yeah, yeah, going to a company and saying, "Hey, what would you offer us?" is pretty good leverage just for the business itself. Because guess what? If this was true, and who knows, in 2024, maybe the Bucks say, "Hey, Tony, WWE's offered me X.
Hmm.
What are you gonna offer me?" That's just business. That's
Yep.
you know what?
Absolutely.
Like let's be real. These guys are making money. This is
Hmm.
their job. If
Right.
someone else offered you a job and said, "Hey, I'm gonna pay you X amount of money to come here,"
Hmm.
you go to your boss, so whoever, probably say, "Hey, I'm being offered this position.
Yes.
What are you gonna do about it?"
Right.
Right?
Right. And let's keep in mind though that the Bucks have denied even doing
Yeah,
that. Right.
exactly, exactly.
So, I think as far as I'm concerned, dead story.
Dead
Right.
story.
It's
Agree.
like,
I,
come
I
on,
I agree.
guys. I know that the WWE people are just gloating and wanting to pick it over and stuff, but I got news for you. AEW isn't going anywhere, and if last week's Dynamite was any indication,
Hmm.
they rallied behind it. I mean,
They
look,
did. They did.
even, even, even Mr. Tennis Racket himself said that John Moxley's promo was one of the best promos he'd ever heard in his life.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing. It's like you look at wrestling. Wrestling, obviously, there's kayfabe and stuff like that. We said this before. We said this last week. There's 8 months from CM Punk coming back to wrestling. Period. Right.
Mhm.
A lot of things can change in 8 months from now.
Yes.
You know what? We may not even hear anything that happens as a result of this.
Right.
We may not, right? Because the investigation can conclude. Tony Khan may just say, "Okay, this is under wraps. You guys are all under contract, and these are the steps I'm taking to fix this company." Right?
Mhm.
We may not ever know. The problem, if that happens, is AEW's made a fact. They try to book smart, right? Long-term
Mhm.
booking, storytelling. Their fans are smarter than most, and I'm gonna give
Right.
them credit for that, right? You can't turn a blind eye though to this. You either make it into a work or you address it head on, right?
Or do some
Because
of both.
or some of both. Because if you come out and pretend like this didn't happen, that's a problem. Because that's
Yep.
you treating your fans like a bunch of idiots, right? And
Yep.
they're not going to accept that.
No, but I think right now they have to treat it like nothing happened because
Oh
there's
no,
an
no,
investigation going on.
there's legal
Right.
implications
So
right now.
when that's over, you're right. And I do not believe that Tony Khan or
Mhm.
anyone in AEW, because even if Tony doesn't say anything, someone will leak it.
Yeah,
But the
true.
point is that he's not going to do that. He's going to say, this is what happened. This is what I had to do as a result. Right.
Yeah.
And this is why our company is going to be just fine going forward. The man has no problem talking to the media about stuff, right? To do with AEW, etc. So I don't see him having any issue saying, "Hey, this was the investigation. This is what happened. Okay, this is what we're doing."
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
think you're right. I think it's one party is going to end up leaking it regardless, right? But
mhm.
it is what it is. And
Yep,
I do want to see this. I do want to like use this as AEW's turning point where they're kind of like, no, we're going to use this. We're going to
yep.
make a lot of money off
Oh,
of this. We're going to do
100%.
this. Right? And if you don't AEW, that's your own fault. We're not the ones in charge here. You
Yep,
guys are. And if you stumble with this, like you may as well be WCW,
yep.
right? At this point, you may as well be that.
Well, Brian Danielson said today to Sports Illustrated that he'd be more than happy to carry anything forward out of all of this stuff. So, it's I think he sees too that this is a good opportunity for the
Oh, hell
company. I
yeah.
mean, look, it's a little fresh now, but down the road, you could make some wonderful plot lines out of this.
Oh
And
yeah,
this is
amazing.
not the first, and it won't be the last backroom brawl in wrestling history. Right?
Exactly. It's just
There
that
have been
everything,
so many
yeah,
of
it's just
them.
that it's now everything is caught on camera. Everything, there's so many reports immediately of this stuff, right? Like,
Hmm.
like they were saying, like who knows who Hogan had like heat with in the back? Who knows who he was screwing over and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
It's just so many like little things that I'm like, you know what? Like, there's so much
Yep.
news. At this point, I'm just here to see a good product, guys. Like, I'm so
Yep.
tired of this.
Just enjoy
Yeah,
wrestling.
wrestling. That poor
But
guy's t-shirt, man. Like legit. The night he
yep.
wears the t-shirt,
Yeah,
everything
I
goes
know.
down.
Oh, but and sadly, we're not quite done yet because based
No.
on what we just talked about, right? Several wrestlers,
Mhm.
Dave Meltzer reported in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter that
Mhm.
several wrestlers not affiliated with either side noted to him that they felt that CM Punk and Ace Steel had to be gone.
Yeah.
Right. They were upset with how Punk buried the promotion. They said, he really put down Adam Page, who, had headlined 3 pay-per-views, you know, world champion, had done, and that he'd done nothing for the business, and in their minds it was outright calling out AEW's history and saying that their championship and big main events were worthless or meaningless before he got there, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. And that he also ran down the contributions of the Young Bucks, who, had birthed and grown the promotion from nothing. Right. It is worth noting, too, that Punk, though, is, in all honesty, the biggest draw for ratings in the company, and he has the highest merch sales. And we're talking above and beyond Kenny Omega. So,
Mhm.
so several wrestlers, though, would really like these guys gone. Um, what do you think? Should they fire CM Punk?
I think as of this moment, yes. You fire him. Look at this way. Look at this as almost as kayfabe as well. You fire him. He's not going to be working for you for 8 entire months, regardless.
Or
A
longer.
lot can change, or longer. A
Yeah.
lot can change in 8 months. You know what? In 8 months from now, CM Punk may think, you know, I can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's the risk of firing him right now? Right?
Yep.
And not only risk, it's kind of like Tony Khan. You need to send a message to your back room. Who's in charge, and like, you know, who makes the rules around here, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not some wrestler going out and running his mouth and burying the I've never seen this. I've never seen. I you know, if he'd went out there and he had buried another company, great. Who cares? Everyone does it, right? They bury each other. You went out there and you sewered your entire back room, your top stars, the EV, like, regardless, you sewered the top draws in your business, and you said, "Oh, I can do this because I'm the best."
Do you
Like
know who
that.
else did that?
Who?
Hulk Hogan in WCW
And look where
near
Hulk
the
Hogan
end.
and WCW are.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And that's it, right? It's kind of like, I don't blame the AEW stars who've been there since the beginning to have this feeling, right? Because remember, they came up this up and coming promotion, and then suddenly the WWE guys started showing up. And yeah, we talked about this. If you have an option, if you have the opportunity to sign these guys, you sign them, right? Why wouldn't you? You just said CM Punk, the biggest draw, biggest merchandise sales.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, is it worth it to the entire product though? Right?
Yeah, right. And I think I'm it's tough, right? Because, you know, I've been for years a huge CM Punk fan. But he has left a terrible taste in my mouth now, right? It's just like he tore down the company. Like you said, I haven't
Yeah.
seen something that amateurish since Hogan in WCW.
Yeah.
Right? It when he went out and cut that promo about, and he just went off on, he just went off on WCW. And it wasn't even as bad as Punk's,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Punk really tore into the whole like stuff that was going on. And Punk had the owner sitting next to him, which
There's a lot of blame to pass around.
mhm,
Okay, there's
yeah.
a lot of blame to pass around, and the problem was, if you watch that interview, first of all, Tony Khan, like, you could have covered the mic and
Hmm.
said, "Listen, let's not bring this. Let's not talk." And then everyone
Yes.
else, listen, we're only going to talk about the matches tonight.
Hmm.
Fine, we'll
Yep.
handle this later.
Yep.
You didn't say that, right?
Hmm.
You didn't defend your people, your
Nope.
own wrestlers. You just let
Hmm.
this guy go off on them, right?
Yep.
And then you're the owner, and you apologize. You're like, you know what, I should have put an end to that. So you're defending the guy, basically suing your company, and then he turns to you and says, "It's okay, Tony. We're all learning here." So I'm like, who's in charge exactly?
Yeah,
Who's
well,
in
that's
charge,
that's
right?
kind of the point, is that CM Punk, I think, has started to act like he is in charge.
That's
And
yeah,
and that's going to rankle the guys who are there. And he treats them like they're, you know, indie wrestlers or something like that, which, first of all, that's a compliment. They're
yeah,
indie
I know.
wrestlers. Because that's a hell of a lot better than being WWE wrestlers. If
Yeah.
Tony Khan, yeah, you know, Tony Khan does have some learning to do, because he's at a cross. You know, Lance Storm said this this morning. I heard it this morning,
Mhm,
and it was just brilliant. It was Tony Khan is at a crossroads, and I'll try to
mhm,
paraphrase what he said.
mhm.
Tony Khan brought in these WWE guys, but why did he do it? Because they were misused at WWE, and, you know, they weren't booked well, and they were seen as guys who could have better matches, so we brought them in. But that still brought in a lot of WWE guys,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so the difference was, look at the matches these WWE guys can have under our banner, right? This
Mhm.
doesn't include guys like Jericho, okay,
Yeah.
because they were there from the beginning, or Moxley, because they were there from the beginning.
Yes, exactly.
But the rest of them, like the Miros and, you know, Malachi Black and
Mhm.
Danielson and Punk, and, you know, I think Danielson might be a bit of an anomaly, because I don't think he was ever going to get a chance to wrestle with
Yeah.
WWE.
Yeah.
But so again, I might put him outside of that. But there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, right? Eric Redbeard. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, what the heck was up with that? So anyway,
Yeah.
he brought in a lot of guys, right? And it created some tensions in the locker room too. So it was he brought them in at a price.
Mhm.
right? But that's because the brand was being built as we're an alternative to WWE. We do things differently from WWE, even if we have their old wrestlers. Look how differently they're being booked and worked. Guess what's changed? How differently they're being booked and worked at WWE,
Mhm.
right? That's all changed. Now, yeah, there's still some fundamental differences between the company, but what they haven't done at AEW is really figure out now what, because they spent so much time being the company that bashes WWE. Remember, even when we talked about this
Mhm.
way back when Cody
Mhm.
first used his sledgehammer on the throne, and we're like, but really, is this what we want the
Yeah,
company to be doing? Like,
exactly.
shouldn't they just not care about
Or draw
WWE?
attention at
Yeah.
all to that.
Right, because do you know who doesn't care about WWE? Me and a
Yeah.
lot of other AEW
Yeah.
fans. I don't care how well they're booking their matches and stuff now. I am not going to go to the big stadium tour when I can go check out my favorite band at the local place, right?
Yeah.
It's that
Exactly.
simple. And look, I'm not saying AEW should be confined to local taverns or something like that, but they need a brand identity. I mean, I don't know how to put. I mean, I sound like Stephanie McMahon right now, but like, hello, what's your brand, right?
Well, it's like Marvel versus DC.
Yeah.
I don't go to Marvel movies expecting them to bash DC or vice versa. I go
Hmm.
there for entertainment.
Yes.
Yeah, do I prefer one over the other? Yes. Do I prefer that one is actually better than the other? Of course I do. But I don't want them to reference each other. I really don't. I don't care for that kind of stuff. It's kind of silly
Hmm.
that that's happening, right? So when I hear it, like when AEW started doing it, yeah, it's funny. And then listen, Chris Jericho's like sports entertainer thing gimmick is fantastic. It's so good. It's so ridiculous that it works so well. The thing is that with this whole issue that AEW is running, and you're right, there's a bit of an identity crisis going on right now in AEW.
Mm.
But one of the big issues with AEW right now is that again, they have smart fans. All the fans know exactly what's happened now, right? To a point that we know what we've heard.
Right.
Sides have been chosen regardless size has been chosen. Yeah, at a time CM Punk is cheered by everyone. I'm guaranteeing you now, CM Punk goes out there, he's not getting cheered by everyone anymore.
No.
There are some fans who are just going to be like, no, dude, I'm tired of this, right? And you're right in terms of the whole wrestlers who even support CM Punk are now coming out and saying, I just don't know, because he literally sewered the company that's paying your bills for you,
Yep.
right? Because hey,
Exactly.
maybe he has a lot of money, but
Oh, he
then
does.
there's some indie guys who don't have that much money, and this
How
is
much
their
money do you think Peter Avalon has, really?
exactly my point, right?
Yeah.
And these guys are like fighting and fighting just to be
Hmm.
on Dark,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, precisely.
So,
Although Peter Avalon will be fighting on NJPW Strong, I think this weekend he's
oh,
got a
good,
match. So yeah.
good, good. No, and I'm glad to hear that, right? Like the thing is that this is privilege right here,
Hmm.
right? You're seeing it firsthand here. Punk
Yeah.
has it all. He doesn't. He sees it, claiming he wants to help everyone.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but his press conference. I keep hitting on the press conference. He said the grass is not greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. Was what he did watering the grass?
No, he basically went out and took a colossal dump on the
Okay,
grass. Yeah.
okay, and you know me. I've never been a huge CM Punk fan myself, but I did appreciate when he came back, and I've
Hmm.
appreciated what he's done in AEW. But what I saw has totally turned my perspective on him. If I never see CM Punk wrestle again, I'm okay with that.
Krishna, I got news for you. If I never see CM Punk
Oh,
wrestle again, I'm okay with that. Because what he did at that press conference in my mind requires, he talks about the apology, that the
yeah,
apology better be, his
yeah,
apology better be massive. And I mean massive.
yeah,
He dug himself into his own resentments of
yeah,
Colt Cabana and turned that, and just wouldn't get off it and wouldn't get off it, and turned that into trashing the company. So
yeah,
I am with the wrestlers in the back who say he should likely be fired. Now, I would be the kind of guy who said, let's wait to see what the
yeah.
investigation says. We don't
So I
know
agree.
everything, we don't know all the details. But even then, that promo, if
Yeah,
I'm the CEO of that company, I'm going, what are you doing?
yep,
All right. Like I would,
yep.
I would, I would, I don't know what I'd do. Would a long-term suspension followed up by an angle surrounding it be a good idea? Maybe.
Maybe, and you know what? how do we know? And I'm just throwing something out there. How do we know that CM Punk is only suspended for the altercation?
Right. Right. That's a very good point. We don't
Right?
know that he's only been suspended for the
Exactly.
altercation. So,
Everyone
you
is
know,
making the assumption that this is the
mhm,
only thing he's suspended for, right?
right.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I think at the end it's simple. I think he should be fired. At least for now. I think he should be fired. He needs to. There, an example needs to be set by Tony Khan that no one can walk in and basically just sewer your company.
Yeah.
And if it happens again, guess what? Automatic fire.
So yeah,
Everyone know.
I'm yeah, exactly. And you know, like I said, I agree is that if the investigation turns out he did a lot of this stuff, I mean, minimum hugely long-term suspension.
Yeah,
And like we both said, if I never see CM Punk in a ring again, I'll be sad because of the way it ended. But the man, if he comes out and he owns up to
yeah,
everything he did, takes responsibility for his actions, you know, that all that'll do is increase my admiration for him in that sense because at least
agreed,
he's owning up to it, right?
agreed.
And there, that's what you can
If
do.
he can come out and repair what he broke,
Mm-hmm.
first off, that's a really good teaching lesson. You want to teach everyone stuff. They're
Mm-hmm.
great teaching lessons for the young people in the back.
Right. Exactly. And you know, the other thing he needs to do, by the way, is pay for a good 6 week vacation for John Moxley to somewhere really nice, like a nice fishing
Agreed.
backwater with his friend
Agreed.
or something like that, right?
Agreed. Again, John Moxley, like I I was never a John Moxley fan, but man, has he turned me around in the recent months and recent year. I would say like this guy is just such a professional.
Mm-hmm.
And Jericho too, like
Oh yeah.
come on.
Yep.
Come
I mean,
on.
the
These
three of
two.
them. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
those are the three guys that, you know, according to the reports, were the ones
Mm.
who actually instigated the backstage meeting last week before Dynamite,
Yes.
right? The one in
Yes.
Buffalo. And you know, one person actually told Meltzer that it was the best backstage meeting the wrestlers had ever had, right? And they realized there was brand damage done and that they had to overcome it. It was a real rallying style
Good.
meeting. And those guys went out and they put their money where their mouth was too,
Yep.
right? So all three of them had phenomenal showings last week.
Yep.
And I wouldn't be surprised if all three of them have phenomenal showings this week again. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Couple more quick news stories, then we
Sure.
can turn to our predictions. This one is some good news. It is All Elite Women trademark has been filed, according to Tony Khan. He has filed the trademark because there will be a new in-ring television show called All Elite Women.
Yeah. This is good. I'm
Mm.
glad. I do kind of want them to focus on the women's storytelling and their matches and the matches in general for now. Great. This is great. I just don't care until you focus and give more attention to your women's like division, Tony Khan. Like, great, you're doing all these great things,
Mm-hmm.
but focus on your product first.
Well, yes, I mean, you can't create stardom. Right. And I'm not referring to stardom as in superstars. I'm referring to stardom as in the Japanese Joshi promotion stardom.
Mhm.
You can't just create that as the solution to the problems in the women's division in AEW. The
Yeah.
solution is, hey, Krishna, you nailed it right on the head. The solution to the problem in the women's division is, can we please have some stories and some reasons for some of the matches and pushing the wrestlers who can actually wrestle in the ring? Like, we don't have this problem with the men's wrestling.
No, we don't.
I mean, Satnam Singh, where is he now? They figured that out. The dude
Yeah,
is just like
exactly.
he's nowhere to be found all of a sudden because guess what? He can't wrestle.
Yeah,
And you know what? The men's division, you look at all the wrestlers, the vast majority of them can go.
can go
I may not
exactly.
like all of them, but they can at least put on
A
a
good
good
show.
quality match.
Yeah.
Now, Tony, with the women, you know, let's work on it a little bit,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
speaking of match quality, I have a new segment for you, Krishna.
All right.
It
Let's
is
hear it.
called Guess the Stars.
Okay. Guess the
So I'm going
stars.
to give
Okay.
you, okay, so
It's like
three
Star
of them,
Search.
kind of, yes. No, we're going to guess the star ratings that Dave Meltzer
Oh,
gave some of the matches.
oh no. Here we
Yes.
go.
So all out, three matches were given 4.5 stars. Can you name the three matches?
Three matches were given 4.5 stars. I'm
Mhm.
gonna say the at All Out, it's gonna have to be the trios championship was given a 4.5 stars.
Correct.
The Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee match, the tag team match was probably given 4.5 stars.
It was.
Oh yes. And the last one it's gonna have to be the Punk and Moxley match.
Eh,
Ooh, okay.
that's one
Whoa.
strike. You only get 3
Whoa.
strikes.
Wait, Punk and Moxley didn't. Okay.
Oh, it got 4.25
4.2.
stars.
And the so it's a quick question. The 3 matches that got those the 4.5 were on the main card. They weren't
No,
on the
not
pre-show.
necessarily. No, I'm talking about the whole
Oh.
thing, pre-show and main card.
Oh. Okay. So then what match? Oh, the the casino battle royale.
Eh.
Ooh, okay. Now this. Oh, one
Which
last.
he said it would have got 4 stars, but it gets 3.5 because of the finish.
Yeah, that's true. I see that. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. I'm not gonna choose the Pac match just because the way it ended was kind of odd for me, and I don't know why Meltzer would have given that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the only one else I could think of that was actually really really good. Really, did he give? Okay, I know this is my last guess, and if I
Yep.
get it wrong, I get it wrong. Did he give Danielson and Jericho the 4.5 stars?
Nope.
Okay,
You almost
okay,
got all 3. You almost got all
okay,
3.
okay.
Jericho and Danielson, 4 stars. The last 4.5 star match was Ishii versus Eddie Kingston. Yeah.
Okay. Remember the match that I said it was good.
Yep.
It was hard hitting, not my kind of match, but
Right. And remember, I said the storytelling and
yeah,
stuff was really good, etc. Yeah. So,
that's it.
not necessarily my favorite match either, but I can see how that match, taken
Yeah.
as the storytelling and the build and the kind of guys that are in the match, could earn that. So, there you go. That is
Ah,
our first edition of Guess the Stars.
wow,
Krishna did
Uncle
pretty
Dave,
well.
you got me in that one. You got me on that one. I got to figure out your star system because I know Kenny Omega star,
Yeah.
Young Buck star, right? Come on.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the rest, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep. Okay. Well, with that, shall we turn to tonight's Dynamite?
let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. So only 4 matches that I'm aware of right now. And that
Okay.
was a couple hours before the event. So
hmm
we have Jungle Boy has an open contract match. So he's walking with a signed contract. He's going to face anybody.
Curious. I don't know who's gonna step up to this one, to be honest with you. It's Jungle Boy, so I kind of feel like it's gonna be pretty good. I just hope it's not like just what's his face, Luchasaurus walking out, because I kind of feel it might be Luchasaurus walking out, but I don't know. I don't know. Like honestly, Jungle Boy, I really do like the way he wrestles. If they gave him a chance to wrestle today, hopefully it's just not someone who just comes in and tries to like squash him, right? So curious. I think this will be good, but this is not going to be match of the night or
Right.
anything like that.
Well, I mean, he's clearly got the contract to try to draw out Luchasaurus. He
Yeah,
wants Luchasaurus. So he's doing
fair.
the contract thing to go, yeah, come on and fight me, which means we're not getting Luchasaurus. We're getting Dante Martin.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Dante Martin versus Jungle Boy might be the dark horse of the night.
Oh no, it could be a match of the night candidate, right? So that's why I'm going for it. It's going to be Jungle Boy versus Dante
Mhm,
Martin, and we're all happy.
Okay.
Next up, we have Toni Storm and Athena. Athena is replacing the kayfabe injured Hikaru Shida,
Mhm,
who was attacked by Britt Baker on Dark,
mhm.
versus Britt Baker and Serena D. Britt Baker's reason for the attack: well, if I can't have my tag team partner of choice,
You
neither can Toni
can you.
Storm. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just glad to see Serena Deeb on
Mhm.
Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
Um, Deeb and Baker, great heels. I'm
Mhm.
wondering though if Hater comes back and tries to interfere in this match, right? Because Hater
Mhm.
is probably just wants to screw Britt out of anything at this point, right?
Probably.
My problem is that you have on the other side you have what's it called Tony Starman. Who's her partner again?
Athena.
Athena. I was like, we had quite a lengthy discussion at All Out about Athena's
Yeah.
wrestling.
Oh, that match, 1.5 stars. Just saying. Just
Not
saying.
shocked. Not shocked. I'm concerned about this match
Mhm.
because you have 2 really good wrestlers on one side and 2 not so good wrestlers on the other
Right.
side.
See, I think Athena may be good enough that because she's in the ring with Serena Deeb or Britt Baker, she can get carried a little bit if she's having
Mm,
a little trouble with her timing and stuff. Toni Storm, Well, Tony Storm is Tony Storm. I still don't understand the appeal. I will never understand the appeal. But again, I
I
think we have two
know.
people who can carry her. Do I think this is going to be great? No. Do I think it's going to suck? Probably not, but it is the most likely candidate on the show for botches.
Yeah, agreed.
So then we have two Tournament of Champion matches. We have the second round match. First one up, Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho.
I'm predicting that Danielson's winning this match. Right off the bat, I think he's gonna do that. This is not gonna be my match of the night either. I love Danielson, I love Jericho, but I've seen this match twice now, right? This is gonna be the third match in it, right? So I'm like, okay, I think Danielson's gonna win it. I just don't think it's gonna be as good as the match I think is gonna be match of the night. So I'm saying
Right.
it's gonna be good, but not as good as my match of the night.
Right. And you know, I'm with you. I think this is going to be another really good match. These guys, both epic storytellers, could be it's a dark horse. It's a dark
Mm-hmm.
horse. They could
Mm-hmm.
pull something out here because both these guys are capable of putting on matches of the night.
True.
So yeah, but I think it's going to be a good match, and I think you're completely right. Bryan Danielson is winning because I've already predicted Bryan Danielson is winning the tournament. So of
Yeah,
course he's
same.
not going to lose to Chris Jericho.
Same.
So, yep. Next up, though, and I'm hoping our main event of the night, we've got Jon Moxley taking on Sammy Guevara.
This is yes, this is gonna be my match of the night. Sammy is just so much fun to watch. Like this kid is so good. And Moxley, as I said, he's been getting so much better. Like I've been enjoying watching him wrestle recently. So I can see them like I can see this being a pretty good match. High flying, hard hitting. And Sammy's crazy. So I mean, like, not that Mox isn't, but Sammy is gonna do something really stupid tonight. And it's gonna cost him. I think he's gonna. But do we go into Arthur Ashe with two Blackpool Combat Club people against each other, or do you send Danielson against Sammy, who's part of the JAS? Right. This is where I'm like, ooh, what do you do here?
No, you do the bill. You do Danielson versus Moxley
Mox,
because
eh?
you're selling tickets. First of all, you're
Tickets,
trying to
true.
fill Arthur Ashe Stadium.
That's true. That's very
And
true.
if your marquee match now is Jon Moxley versus Bryan
Then
Danielson
it's
for
sold.
the AEW championship, let's keep that in
Yeah.
mind too. It
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
AEW
Yeah.
championship. You're selling tickets
You're selling
because,
tickets. Agreed.
yeah, we've seen these guys go at it before and they kill each other.
Yeah.
And they're going to go at it again and they're going
And
to
kill
kill
each other.
each other. It
Yeah.
is like these guys can put on matches. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's got to be Mox versus Danielson. It's got to be. So,
Yeah.
you know, I actually think that Mox will quite handily dispose of Sammy Guevara, but I think
Sammy?
you're also right. Yeah, Sammy's going to do something completely silly. I think there's going to
No.
be shenanigan attempts during this match as
Maybe.
well, but that might also bring out the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club, right?
So
Maybe
we're saying that the Blackpool Combat Club is losing all their matches tonight, and sorry, no, so the Blackpool
winning.
Combat Club are winning, and JES are losing their matches
Yeah,
tonight.
JAS are losing all their matches tonight. But what the interesting part of this is I think that in both matches you'll see JAS interference as well.
Mm.
And because they're going to try to get their guys to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that ultimately too what this can set up is a longer term continuing JAS Blackpool Combat Club feud. Right? It's
Mm-hmm.
just another chapter in their feud, which will now also be wrapped up around the AEW championship.
Yeah.
The other thing they could do too is that in that championship match at Arthur Ashe, Danielson can end up injuring Jon Moxley and sending him away for
Or
6
his
weeks,
time off. Yeah.
like some well-deserved injury recoup,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote. So I think that's another reason why Danielson's probably going to win the championship because Mox does kind of need his time off. And then Brandon Cutler can come in and help carry the company on his back. So I'm at that. Okay, I've changed my mind. I don't want Dante Martin to answer the open
Brandon
challenge.
Cutler.
I want Brandon Cutler to answer the open challenge in full Tiamat gear, and I want to see a match between him and Jungle Boy, and I want them to both go all out.
I wouldn't mind that match because I'm to the point right now where again I'm going back to this. The roster's so bloated. Just use the people you have. You started this company with these people. Use them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So come on, I wouldn't mind seeing Brandon Cutler wrestle. Why not?
Well, of course, because he's amazing. He is. Just because he's acted like a buffoon for like the last, time when the Bucks are heels doesn't mean the
But he
guy.
doesn't even wrestle on Dark anymore.
No, I don't get it. He's so good.
Yeah, like if he was wrestling on Dark and stuff like that, and then showing up at Dynamite, okay, great. But I'm like, you're not even wrestling much. You wrestled one match on Dark, like in the last year, I'd say, or more.
No,
Or
he's
it's
wrestled
so
more than
weird.
that for sure.
I don't know, or maybe he has, like, but
Okay,
at least in the last couple months,
next
right?
week I'm bringing you the Brandon Cutler match chart.
All right, and I'm not
Okay.
gonna look it up. I'm gonna wait to
Okay.
listen to it then.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to tell you what matches he's had in the last year. So, anyway, so that looks like that's going to be our Dynamite card
All
tonight.
right.
There's got to be some more stuff added. Like for MJF, what's he doing on this show?
Exactly. MJF, is Wardlow going to do something? Because apparently they're trying to make the championship, make sense anymore.
That's true.
Right?
Yep.
Because let's be real here. I hate to say this, but it's the AEW championship is number one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say it. They put more emphasis on the TBS championship than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The TBS championship. And then I would say it's the tag team championship. And then it goes down. But TNT and even the women's championship are probably the lowest championships they consider at AEW right now, which is sad, right? Like, come on, guys, you have all these championships. Let's make them worth something. They were worth something briefly when the trios were they were held by the Bucks and Omega, but
plus we now have the same number of belts as New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, we've got like belts for everybody.
So everyone's going to come out with a belt now.
Well, we have all the Ring of Honor belts, right?
Oh, I forgot about those.
Yeah, but
I did forget
man,
about those.
October 1st, New Japan Strong.
Oh.
We have FTR taking on Aussie Open for the IWGP tag team titles. Yep, see, I knew it. The look on his face right now, you guys can't see him, but the look on his face, he's like,
Aussie
nice.
Open and FTR. That's going to be an awesome match, even without Will Ospreay there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, of course. Those four guys going at it for the belts, that'll be something else. I fully plan on watching that match. So,
cool. Okay.
So, yeah. Sounds like good times. Anyway, we have a show to watch.
We do.
Shall we go watch it?
Let's go get ready for Dynamite.
Okay. But we'll be back soon. And what do you know? We have returned, and that was AEW Dynamite.
Yes, it was.
It came to us tonight from MVP Arena in Albany, New York. And we have Toni Schiavone, Excalibur, and Taz on commentary, and they're immediately joined by William Regal. I would like to point out, though, did you notice the end of the new banner that came up during the opening? The very last image they show on the Dynamite opening now. It's Toni Storm holding the belt, crying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like that's the last image we want in our heads as we go to AEW Dynamite. We want Toni Storm crying with the belt. Good stuff. AEW.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the rest of the show was not Toni Storm crying with the belt. So we start off with Jon Moxley taking on Sammy Guevara, and Mox comes out exactly opposite the entrance ramp. They show the camera over his shoulder, and you can see the ramp right across from him. Of course, he has to stop and ask the fans to get to the ring, as usually. Couple of signs of note in the very first opening bit here. That nice sign from the guy that says Albany enjoys wrestling.
Yes, exactly.
That's right. Just enjoy wrestling, everybody. And another sign behind him that said free the elite.
Yeah. And then later on the night, we'll talk about the terrible sign we saw in the front row.
Yeah, I looked at that and went, you know what? Screw you. I'm busy enjoying the wrestling.
Yeah. I was like, really, dude?
Yeah.
Really, dude, dressed up like the American flag? Really?
Yeah, I know. Like, go back to your Make America Great Again rally or something and get the hell out of There was also a Guyanese flag draped over the band.
I saw that right at the beginning, the Guyanese flag. I was like, oh, look at that.
Yes, I know. Was your Trinidadian blood boiling?
I was like, where's the Trinidadian flag that's always around? What's going on?
I know, there's always that guy with the Trinidadian flag at these events too. Right? Well, the Caribbean contingent's got to represent, right?
True.
Okay, and Sammy comes out without Ty Mello. See, I still keep almost calling her, but I like when he was coming down the ramp and he's going, "Where's my flames? Where's my power?" When I get the championship, I'm having flames. Okay, cool. Anyway, there is a vicious headlock for Mox to open this match up when they finally get going. And I mean, like by vicious, I mean he had him down. He had that head wrench, just rolling him around with the head wrench. That it was pretty impressive.
Hmm.
Sammy gets beat down in the corner, but Sammy tries to beat Mox down in the corner rather, but Mox counters with a huge lariat. There's a pretty pretty funny chop exchange where Mox is killing Sammy, but Sammy's returns. Mox just looks at him, lies down,
Lies
and
down.
looks bored. There's a and then there's a but Sammy gets him back pretty fast. He does a big tope con hero followed by a tornillo that stops Mox cold, and then he throws him into the steps to send it to commercial. When we come back, Sammy goes for a pile driver on the apron, but Mox reverses that into a bulldog on the apron
Hmm.
that Sammy just like does a 360 in the air when he hits that. Mox comes back with what I always will call the greatest move in professional wrestling, the back rakes on the turnbuckle, followed up by a bite and a butterfly suplex for two. There was a springing cutter to Mox that was pretty impressive too when when Sammy jumped from one rope to the next and back into the cutter. He attempts a GTH, but it's reversed into a bulldog choke and then some
Hmm.
hammer and anvil elbows. Um, Mox then goes for a King Kong lariat, but that's countered into a standing Spanish fly that really, it looked like he almost caught Mox in midair and gave him the
Yeah.
Spanish fly. Very impressive. Mox catches Sammy on the turnbuckle into an avalanche German suplex. Now, this is when Anna Jay and Ty Mello interrupt the match. Anna distracts the referee while Ty Mello gives the low blow, kicks Mox right between the legs. Sammy rolls him up into a small package, but Mox kicks out, leading to a conversation with William Regal on how exactly do you train to stop that? And he and Taz both agree there's a technique. Okay, you just have to pull them up. Um, Mox dodges a senton atomico, and the finish comes as Sammy does a jumping knee strike and a thrust kick, but his GTH is reversed into a Death Rider for the 3 count. And after the match, you see Mox yell into the camera, "This is my company."
Yeah, exactly. Go John Moxley. I said at the beginning of our pre-show, I said
Mm-hmm.
this is gonna be my match of the night.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, Tony Khan decides, you know what? I'm gonna throw 10 other matches at you as well, right?
Of course, of
Tony,
course.
you can't keep doing that to us, man. I really enjoyed this match though. I really, really, really enjoyed this match.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a good. I remember I said that John Moxley's just been more impressive. The reversals, like, geez, some of the moves he had to sell. Like, I really, I love the chops. That was hilarious because yeah, Sammy's not gonna chop like everyone else. Like, oh, obviously he's more of a high flyer,
He's
but
not Ishii. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I really enjoyed this match. It was such a good. You know what? This is gonna be constant throughout this entire night. This was a very good match,
Yeah.
right? I enjoyed myself, but this was not my match of the night.
No, it wasn't mine either. Very good match.
Very
Okay.
good match.
Very
Yeah.
good match. Like, I love the way that Mox can, like, that's why I noted the headlock spot because he
Yeah.
does something as simple as a wrenching headlock and he makes it look like he's
It
killing
hurts.
the
Yeah.
dude, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's gotten so technically good, you know? Like, he looks like he's a badass in the ring. And it's so hard to bring him down, and he's got that reputation now, right? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, you keep hitting him, you keep him, look, you can kick him between the legs and he's still going to kick out,
Yeah.
right? Like, he's tough, he's really tough, but he can also wrestle.
Yeah.
He may not be the most technically sound guy, but he's technically good enough.
Yeah.
And against a guy like Sammy, I mean, it was a good match. Sammy got some of his good spots in, but Sammy wrestled the match well too, right? Like you
Hmm.
could tell he was trying to keep Mox down. So it was a
Yeah.
well wrestled match, had a decent little story going on in it. So yeah, I enjoyed the match. Not my match of the night, but heck, I had a good time watching it. So
Agreed.
kudos to both these guys. And then of course, we come back from commercial and MJF comes out and immediately cuts his music and he says, Albany, if you want to talk, so, if I wanted, sorry, let me start that over. Albany, if I wanted you to talk, you'd know it, so keep your fat mouth shut. 7 days, John Moxley, I haven't slept a wink since we came toe to toe. You know why? It's that look in your eyes. You have no fear and that pisses me off. You must have confused me with someone else though. I'm not the same kid I was when we first crossed paths. I ain't playing a character, you are. Walking around all tough, you're a joke. You're as much of a joke as these schmucks. Your book, I read your book, talks about your childhood. You were raised the same as these people, uneducated, poor, white trash scumbags from the sticks. And you got bullied. You got your bike stolen. When stuff like that happens, it forces men to put on a front. So you put on a great character. That's why these morons chant your name. I don't buy it. I know you. Deep down, you're still that scared little boy. But now you're old enough to drown all your trauma in alcohol like a worthless drunk. But hey, you beat that habit. I give you credit. You got sober. That takes guts, fortitude. You slayed your demons. But my brain is more dangerous than your disease. This message is for you and Jericho and Danielson. Bad things happen when people get in MJF's way. Take your vacation. Skip Arthur Ashe Stadium. If I were you, I wouldn't want to be winning my AEW title. Your demon told you everything you earned. You don't deserve it. It would all be taken from you. If you don't tread lightly, you'll find out I am that demon, and I'm a demon you can't slay. I'm going to stop there because the second part is very different. So,
Yeah.
what did you think of
This is
MJF's
good.
promo?
This is good. This is MJF being MJF, being the ultimate heel possible. If Mox is going to be the ultimate babyface, why not? Right? Why not have MJF as the ultimate heel? So he brings up his past. He actually doubles down on it. He's saying, I congratulate you, but I am that demon you talked about, right? I was like, wow, that's pretty creative. Moxley gave you the go ahead, and you like he called it, like he said, you drowned in the alcohol, but you beat it. Like he even like, you notice how he didn't insult him about it. He kind of
No, he didn't at
congratulated him
all.
about, yeah, exactly. So he used it, and I'm like, this is very creative. I'm like, I like this. You can tell that, again, I'll say Tony Khan is taking control of his back room.
Yes.
Probably has threatened people's contracts, and yeah, like Mox screaming into the camera, this is my company. I was like, okay, yep, here we go.
Yeah. I loved this promo, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
why. Because you said he comes out being MJF Ultimate Heel. He's more than MJF Ultimate Heel now. This was a flip for him because he said, "You're getting me confused with that guy in 2020, the guy with the podium, right? I'm not that character, right? I'm out here and I'm being real now." What he's done is he's, again, you know what? Yeah, I am the ultimate asshole.
Yeah.
I'm a demon. I'm all those things, but I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
my title. He's now main event MJF. Like, he's
Yeah.
taken his game and realized there's a giant hole in this company right now that I am primed to
Yeah.
step in and
To take it.
fill. And this guy went up to that proverbial brass ring, leapt over it, and is now standing somewhere up there because he sounded like a guy that was on the same level as Moxley and Jericho and
Yeah.
Danielson, right?
Yeah.
Like, he immediately sounded like a main event guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap, this was a good promo. And I absolutely loved what he did with the alcoholism. Because, all those times we've heard people cut the "you're just a drunk"
Yeah.
promo. It's like, yeah, that's right. Uses alcoholism, uses drug problems against him. Right. Yeah. Like low blow city. But he did that to point out Moxley's strength.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You beat it. Kudos to you. And like that's smart heel promo work. You're building up your opponent, right?
Yeah.
You're not just making him sound like a piece of crap. You build him up. And then, you fire off the thing. Yes, but the way your demon was talking to you, that's me.
That's me. Yeah.
I'm your demon,
Yeah.
right? So it's just setting up such a great story when these two finally meet in the ring,
Yep.
right? Like, really good stuff. Kudos to MJF. He's totally won me over in his return. I'm all aboard I'm intrigued. I want to see the story now. And they did a great job setting it up here. And then we get into part 2. So he says, now down to some business. Some men helped me secure the casino chip. And he introduces Stokely Hathaway and the firm. And in case some listeners and you weren't aware, Stokely actually did manage MJF on the independent circuit.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
they have a prior relationship. They
Okay.
actually do go back.
Yeah.
So Stokely, then, now at this point, MJF bails and disappears. We don't see him again. That's the end of MJF. He just brings out Stokely. So sometime during Stokely's music, MJF gone. So Stokely says, look, I flew from Orlando to New York to meet my best friend MJF. He wanted to quit until I told him that, that would give everyone what they want. And it's time for him to get what he wants. So basically, Stokely's taking credit for MJF's return.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he says, I'm not a publicist. I'm not a manager. I'm not an assistant. I'm a friend with a network and connections to make things happen. Everything I've done since Double or Nothing has been a con. There's nothing like good old fashioned blackmail. That turns me on. I have no idea what he meant by this, but we'll get to that. He then goes through each guy in his group because they're all out there with him. He says, Morrissey, he wants to do whatever he wants. I appreciate him and love him. And he actually waits for Morrissey to tell him that he loves
Same
him
thing.
back, and Morrissey never says a word.
He's like, "Do you hear me? I said I love you. I
Yeah.
hurt you."
And Morrissey's just looking at him. For a brief moment, I liked Morrissey. And he goes on to Moriarty and he says, it's time for this young man to become a star and bring some honor back to the Ring of Honor Pure Championship.
Mhm.
Goes to the Guns. These are not boys, these are men, and they no longer want to walk in the shadows of their broke ass daddy. They want to be AEW tag team champs. You will take them seriously. And then he goes to Ethan Page. He says, I've known him for over 10 years. We've been best friends and bitter enemies. He wants to represent his home country of Canada and win the All Atlantic Championship. He says, we are the firm. When we're around, you have two options: run with us or run from us. So we have a
Interesting.
new stable.
Yeah, we have a new stable. He's given them purpose, right? He literally said what they're going after, all of them. So it seems like Morrissey is just going to be the muscle for now, a la Satnam Singh. But I mean, having Moriarty go after the Ring of Honor pure title, I think was what he was saying. Pure, yeah. So that's good. You give Garcia someone to fight. We knew the Guns were going to go after the tag team because next week, unfortunately, Swerve's gonna and Swerve in their glory is gonna lose, but they're gonna go after the titles. And yeah, I want to see more Ethan Page. Why not?
Spoiler alert for a match tonight.
What match? What are you talking about? We announced matches.
I
I
know
don't know what you're talking about.
There's no announced tag match, was there?
But I thought this was okay. I wasn't upset with it. But I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It's just okay. Better than most of the Stokely stuff I've seen so far. I do like the fact he calls out, I'm not like a, what do you say?
He's not an assistant.
I'm not an assistant. I'm a publicist, right? I'm like, okay, you're taking shots at yourself. That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I thought this did its job because we've been asking, what the hell are these guys doing? Right.
Yeah.
And they came out and they just stated it. And I love the fact that we worked with MJF for a while, but we're not part of MJF's. After tonight, it's done. Yeah. Right. So I'm like, okay.
Well, he said MJF has us on call.
Yeah, on call. Yeah.
MJF described them as the first stable. How did he put it? Stable on. I forget how he said it exactly, but it was something to the effect of I can basically like. They're the first stable on retainer. So he's got them on retainer, right? Yeah. So they're like a bunch of guys that'll toss him a few bucks here or there to get them to come and do some dirty work for him. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I was like, okay, this took Stokely from being completely, I can't stand the guy, I wondered what he was doing, to, hey, you're kind of mid. That's not bad, right? Yeah. That's better than sucks.
Exactly.
I actually liked Morrissey here. Did you notice they dropped the W?
Yeah. There's kind of
he was just Morrissey tonight. It's one of the few times I've been like, hey, they dropped part of his name and it was a good idea.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, I actually liked him here for like the first time, and I'd compare him more to like Jake Hager probably than Satnam Singh, because he can wrestle a lot better than Satnam Singh. Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean the whole group just seems to me to be a bunch of misfits or misplaced people, and I'm hoping that they get a chance. I mean, they're all pretty much AEW originals too, right?
Except for Morrissey, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, except for Morrissey. Yep. And it's not like Morrissey came by way of TNA, not WWE. So, yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'm mildly piqued. We'll see where it goes. Anyway, we discover that the person who accepted the open challenge from Jungle Boy was not Luchasaurus, not Dante Martin, and it was Jay Lethal. Yeah. So Jay Lethal and Jungle Boy have a match. And we see Jungle Boy get an Escalera arm drag and drop kick fairly early on. But of course, Sanjay and Satnam distract Jungle Boy, leading to a backbreaker on the turnbuckle by Jay Lethal. And that's kind of the story of this match. Lethal starts to work over Jungle Boy's back, which he does for the whole commercial break. Jungle Boy tries a comeback, but his back gives out on a brain buster.
Mhm.
Lethal attempts the lethal injection, but Jungle Boy does a lariat counter into the same kind of brain buster for 2, which gets noted that he's suddenly got an adrenaline surge, so his back is no longer bothering him. Lethal with a Russian leg sweep off the second rope for 2, again, and move on to the back. A lethal injection gets countered again. Jungle Boy goes for the kill switch,
Mhm.
but that gets reversed into a lethal combination, followed by a tope suicida. Lethal tosses Jungle Boy back in the ring for the Macho Man elbow for 2. There's a pump kick countered into a snare trap, but Sanjay Dutt gets up on the ring apron, and his yelling is just too much for Jungle Boy. He's got to let go of this submission hold and go stare and yell at Sanjay Dutt. So, of course, Jay Lethal takes advantage, goes for a figure 4 attempt, but he gets reversed into a snare trap. And this time, Lethal taps out. What'd you
Yeah.
think?
Again, not it was a good match. Like I just said, Jungle Boy can go, Jay Lethal can go, Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt are just annoying on the side of the ring.
What you're saying is they can go
Yeah,
away.
yeah, they can go way far away. Because as I said, Jay Lethal is a good wrestler, and he showed it here with Jungle Boy, right? Like he didn't need that interference in any way. I mean, he still lost the match, but I mean, he didn't need the interference. But yeah, no, I mean these like Jungle Boy and Lethal are so athletic, and they could show it, right? Like
Mhm.
this how fast paced this is. I thought that again, very good match, but I could do without the distractions. It was such nonsense.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you again. I felt exactly the same way. Both these guys can go. We see our second match where you get a lot of really good wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is like
Mm-hmm.
the theme. It's like, I was talking earlier about AEW having an identity problem, and like I said, I borrowed a lot of that from Lance Storm because I really agreed with the points he made. And I think people are listening because there was an identity put forward here tonight, and it was, what we've got that no one else has in the big leagues? Really, really good wrestlers and the
Yeah,
ability to let them wrestle how they wrestle.
and we have a lot of them, and you will
Yes.
see that tonight.
Yes. Unfortunately, next up, though, we had Hook and Action Bronson training. Krishna, they're from New York City, and they are going to whoop Daddy Magic and Angelo Parker's ass,
Oh, I
apparently.
know, I know. It's okay. So can we call it from now? That's gonna be the worst match of the of next week.
It's
That's
going to be
just
on
that.
Rampage, though. So,
Oh, so then who cares? Like,
yeah, it's a
not that.
Rampage
Okay,
match.
fine. It's gonna. Well, okay. I'll say it again. It's gonna be the worst match of next week,
Yes, every
right?
match on Dark will be better than this. I'm going to
Like, who
check
the
out
heck?
all the matches on Dark just to make
Oh
sure I'm
God,
right.
who wants to watch this? Like, I don't know. This is
No.
not a match for me. I just don't care about this. They want to give Hook something, and this is what they're giving him.
I
Sure.
know. Well,
Okay.
the thing is, Action Bronson, because I was, the reaction. We seem to be in the minority. I kept hearing how great it was that Action Bronson was in this, and it's about time. And he's so into wrestling with him, and
Mhm.
he's in great shape, and people are into this. And I'm like, who are these people? But
He's
anyway,
in great
yeah.
shape.
I guess he was doing push-ups, right? I mean,
Okay.
I'm
Hey,
I'm not
hey,
so
hey,
sure if I could do as many push-ups
hey.
as he could.
All good.
So,
All good. Okay.
yeah, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know who these people are. So, yeah, poor Daddy Magic and Angelo Parker. Okay, then we have Ethan Page killing a pizza guy. I have no idea who this pizza guy was, but he got cheers from the audience briefly.
Some random like I think it was a joke. Honestly, it was a joke.
Yeah,
it
it
couldn't
had
be
to
real.
be.
And
It
then
had to
that's like
be.
when Ethan Page pushed him out of the way, and he's like, "Okay, like I'm gonna be serious here," kind of thing, right? I was
Yes.
like, "Okay."
And then he gets interrupted by Danhausen, who Ethan Page calls the jester of AEW, and he and Danhausen will have a match on Friday.
So he's gonna kill Danhausen on Friday. Then
Pretty much, yes. So that will be a very fast Rampage match, followed up by Matt Hardy challenging Darby Allin to a match on Rampage.
This was interesting. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
I haven't seen Matt Hardy in a while. So we haven't actually seen him since he fought Christian, right? And
No, and
Christian,
I guess now that being the Elite is on hiatus, he's got nothing to do because he can't go around just telling people to beat him up
yeah,
anymore, or
hurt
constantly
me.
apologizing, or
Yeah,
or telling a private party, no, you don't
to leave
want
him
me
alone.
around.
Yeah, to leave him alone. Like,
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, I do actually want Private Party to be to go back with Matt Hardy.
I do too. After all those
Yeah,
being the
yeah,
elite segments, that was
yeah,
some good stuff.
yeah. So I do want that to happen. They can be faces like that. That's awesome. Let them be
Yeah.
faces. Um. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Darby Allin versus Matt Hardy is gonna be interesting. Very curious. Like I'm two different styles, I guess. But Matt, don't
Now,
hurt yourself.
yes, yeah.
Matt, don't hurt yourself. Like just don't. We don't need another
Yeah.
injury here.
Yeah. Well, I forget what. Yeah, this was right after that segment though with Darby Allin, where they were showing him at the 10 people in the crowd riding a tricycle down a ramp thing, where it tried to look like it was a Daredevil thing, but he's crashing into these big floofy walls and stuff. I don't know. It didn't look like much. I
Yeah,
don't
I don't
know.
know.
Darby, I've seen you do a lot worse than that in the videos leading up to your matches.
Yeah.
That is not a suggestion to go out and get yourself killed. Okay.
No, keep doing this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep riding tricycles into floofy walls. We're okay with that. Then next up, Powerhouse Hobbs comes out. He's taken on Matt DiMartino from Albany, Spinebuster, and it's over. So the crowd chants, "We want Ricky," and Hobbs gets the mic. He says it all out. I defeated Ricky Starks. Don't get me wrong. He's tough. I spent 21 months in the trenches with Ricky grinding, but it all out only took 435 to beat him, but who's counting? Now that chapter's closed. And of course, the minute one of these guys says that chapter is closed, it's wide open because he's
Yeah.
going to write a new chapter in the Book of Hobbs. But Ricky Starks comes through the crowd, charges the ring, and clocks Hobbs with a microphone, busting open his lip.
Yeah. It's funny that they're like, oh my god, he's busted open Hobbs' lip. Though when Hobbs was talking before Ricky got there, he was already bleeding. So
are you saying that Matt DiMartino got him?
Matt DiMartino got him. Yeah, it must something because I noticed it because when he started talking, his lip was like his teeth were covered in blood. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't
So
notice that.
yeah,
That's
Ricky Starks did
hilarious.
not bust him open. But I'm glad the announcers used that as Ricky didn't. No, Ricky didn't do anything. That was DiMartino. So yeah, I'm happy to see Ricky Starks back. Ricky Starks is out for his pound of flesh, and hey, I am all for my boy Ricky Starks. So
yeah, this should be good. This should be good. I mean, we knew it was coming at some point. There was no way. The minute he goes, this chapter's closed, I'm like, dude, it's wide open.
yeah, exactly.
Wide open. Yep. So then it's like it's a couple of minutes before 9, and we discovered that actually a tag match has been signed for tonight. We have Death Triangle in the back, and Pac says no one can deny our momentum. Alex Abrahantes comes running and goes, look, tonight we've got the Lucha Brothers versus Swerve in Our Glory for the tag titles. It's been signed. And Penta, of course, just says zero miedo.
And I was like, are you kidding me? This match wasn't announced earlier.
I know. I'm like, wow. So we've got the Lucha Brothers versus Swerve in Our Glory for the tag titles, with the match next week against the Acclaimed coming up. Okay, that's fine. Correct. So 9 o'clock. This is what they let off the 9 o'clock hour with. Keep that in mind. The Lucha Brothers versus Swerve in Our Glory for the AEW Tag Championships. Early, we get a Cazadora splash by the Lucha Brothers, but Swerve takes Ray off the second rope with a Hurricane Rana. Drop kick off the top to the bread basket on Keith Lee by Penta at one point, which looked kind of painful. Ray, they then start going after Lee's leg, and Ray starts to work over Lee's leg. He manages, but Lee manages to tag in Swerve. He gets Ray into a back rack that looked like a pretty vicious submission. Kind of had his arms pulled behind him and stuff. You'd need someone pretty flexible on your back to pull that off, but Ray fits the bill. Ray with a huge back heel kick gets into the hot tag, and Penta just goes nuts off the hot tag. Sling blade, backstabber, does the maiden Penta, but Lee then throws Ray like a lawn dart into the ring to break up the pin. It was nuts. It was a fear factor. Penta tries the fear factor, that gets blocked, and Swerve manages to tag out. Lee with a huge backbreaker to Ray. Looks like he destroyed the poor guy. A Swerve stomp was reversed then into a springboard Spanish fly, and then Penta with a destroyer to Keith Lee. That's right, Penta got the Canadian destroyer on Keith Lee for a 2 count. The crowd went ballistic.
Craziest thing I've seen.
Yeah, crowd went nuts. They were chanting "Holy shit" constantly. Yep. But Swerve tosses Ray from the top, and when they like the Lucha Brothers set up for their finisher, but Swerve manages to toss Ray off the top. This leads to Keith Lee hitting the Big Bang Catastrophe to Penta for the 3.
Yeah. as I said, Tony, how can you not put this match down like on paper so that we could have seen it ahead of time? This is my type of wrestling. Like, had this match been on our pre-card, I would have said this is gonna be match of the night immediately.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that destroyer on Lee, I was like, oh my, like I watching it by myself, I threw my arms up in the air. I was like, are you kidding me? What did I just see there?
Mm-hmm.
Right? These four guys are such great tag teams, right? And I am like on like again, so right out. This is my match of the night. Sorry, I'm just throwing it out there right now. This is my match of the night. I had so much fun with this match. So much fun. Like the fight, I wanted the crowd to start chanting "Fight Forever" because these guys, they could just go. And you know what? Like again, you know how much I love the Young Bucks. They're the best tag team in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But this again was Tony Khan saying, "Hey everyone, we have amazing wrestlers. Look at our tag division right now."
Yep.
Right? Amazing match, amazing finish. I could like when Keith Lee reversed that thing and popped up Penta. I was like, what the hell just happened? Right?
Yeah.
And my God, Swerve and Fenix. There's a one-on-one match I want to see one day.
Oh yeah, some of their
Jesus.
back and forth reversals. I mean, clearly a lot more happened in this match than what I captured in the highlights. But I mean, there were moments when like they were just going back and forth, reversal after reversal, flip around, flip.
So I love this match. I loved it. So yeah, this is my match of the night.
It is my runner-up.
I know what your match of the night is gonna be. So don't worry. Keep going.
Yeah, I loved this match though. Don't get me. This was a statement match.
Mm-hmm.
This was one they put on right at 9:00, and they said, "This is what we offer you in this company. This is something you are not going to see anywhere except maybe in Triple A or the occasional New Japan match or Pro Wrestling Guerrilla." It's the kind of thing that the indie haters rail on because this was just so full of spots and cool stuff. And what I really liked about it too was it's two misused WWE guys taking on a couple of AEW originals, but two misused WWE guys who are incredibly good and fit in perfectly with AEW. Two guys, by the way, in the beginning that I said I didn't understand why we signed them. Why the hell are these guys here? And I love them. I love them both. I'm all in on Keith Lee too. The guy is amazing. But you know why? They've had a chance to shine. Swerve's had a chance to shine. He gets his moves in, and he's the kind of guy that's just so good in the ring. But Keith Lee, being in this tag team, has really had an opportunity to shine, right? I mean, he's a damn good wrestler.
Listen, we're wrestling fans, but we also understand what's real versus not what's not. For Keith Lee to help pull off a Canadian destroyer.
Insane.
I've never seen that because realistically, the Canadian destroyer really relies on the person taking the bump to be able to pull that off, right?
Yeah.
With assistance, obviously, from the person like who's giving them the destroyer. But when I'm not lying to you, I reacted the same way the crowd reacted.
Yeah,
I was like,
too.
what did I just see?
Yeah, exactly. It was just like I was right with them doing holy shit, right? It was just, my God, it's what the hell was that? Right. So yeah, that was phenomenal. Match was really, really good. Enjoyed it a lot. Not my match of the night.
Not your match of the night.
Not
I
my
know
match of
exactly.
the night.
I know exactly what your match of the night is.
You know me. You know me. You know what's coming, right?
And you know what? When you get to that match, I'm gonna let you know that was my match. That was my runner-up for the night because I was like, wow, this is a really good match.
It's each other has the 1B to the other's 1A, right?
There you go.
So, but anyway,
which means that both the matches we're saying is match of the night for us are amazing matches.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this whole show is full of amazing.
It was good. Yeah.
So anyway, Max Caster comes out. He tells Swerve and Lee to show up next week. Apparently, they're doing it because everybody loves the Acclaimed, according to Mr. Bowens, and which has to be followed by Daddy-O providing the scissors. And that's from now on how I'm going to do Scissor Me Daddy-O. It is Daddy-O shall provide the scissors.
The scissors. Bill ruins everything. Yeah, I like the little seriousness from from the Acclaim. They
Mm-hmm.
haven't rapped in 2 weeks. Have you noticed that? They're
Yes.
saving it for Arthur Ashe Stadium. I'm like,
Are
okay,
there? Has Tony been like, you ever rap again? And so
don't you
help me.
rap ever again in this company. No, but the funny part was like even today on YouTube, I was working, I was watching like the best of Max Caster, and I was
Mhm.
laughing. Like I was just
Yeah.
listening to it and laughing to myself, right? So they know, and I love the fact that he addressed like don't ever cut off my rap ever again, right? To Swerve. But yeah, it's weird that going in, Swerve and Lee are the heels here. Like that's such an odd thing.
Yeah.
But I love it. The match next week is going to be good. Is it going to be as good as the match we just saw? Probably
No.
not. But but it's going to be a good match. And
Well,
man, I really don't want to see Swerve and Our Glory lose. But
well, that's the problem with the match next week. We know exactly who's going to win. There
yeah,
isn't
we
a
do.
doubt in my mind that the Acclaimed are winning that match.
Yeah,
Right. And I'm like,
sure.
okay, great. So the bandwagon jumping tag team gets their time to shine, and everybody loves the Acclaimed, apparently, except me. So, I'm gonna be the daddy downer over here, scissor me daddy downer, and you know, I ruin everything. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to next week with the Acclaimed. I'm done with their gimmick, and I did appreciate they were a little more serious. I'm gonna
They're
say that I
furious. Yeah,
appreciated that they were more serious in their promo. I think they need to be that if they're gonna be champions.
yeah.
They can't go around being like a comedy shtick as the AEW tag team champions. So, they're gonna have to figure out a way to balance the
Have you
comedy
never
with
seen
being.
DX before?
I hated DX. Like I hated DX. You don't understand my loathing and hatred of DX. Arf always went about Shawn. I freaking hated Shawn Michaels.
Shawn
I hated
Michaels.
Shawn Michaels since like he was the
Uh-oh.
Heartbreak Kid. I hated Shawn Michaels. The only
Uh-oh.
good thing he ever did was put Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window.
I
And
think
from
we all
then
can
on,
agree with
though,
that.
it was all downhill. So, you know, I do not like Shawn Michaels. I never liked Shawn Michaels. I never liked Triple H as like, Mr. DX. I hated DX with a passion. I never liked Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. That was one of the worst moments in wrestling history. You heard it here first.
Oh.
DX sucks.
Send your hate mail to Bill.
It's fine. Please do. I will bathe in the glory. Okay, so then we go backstage and we've got Alex Marvez trying to get a word in with the disappointed Death Triangle. And you can see the Lucha Brothers walk off in the back, and Pac stops to talk to Alex and goes, "What are you saying? A bump in the road? Clearly you forgot who Death Triangle are." I really wish I could do his accent. "We are the Trios champs. I'm the All Atlantic champ, the first ever AEW double champ, so mind your own business." And he gets dropped by Orange Cassidy with an orange punch out of nowhere. And Orange looks at him and goes, double champ, huh? Well, not for long.
Yeah. You're right. I realize, yeah, when he said it, it didn't click, but you're right. He is the first AEW double
Mm-hmm.
champ.
Yep.
Whereas Kenny had like 4 or 5 belts. It was some different things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good for Pac. That's, you know what? If anyone deserves it, Pac deserves it, right?
Yep.
Um, yeah, and then it was almost like a casual punch that came through the
Yep.
screen. And of course, I'm like, okay, Orange Cassidy taking things serious here.
Mm-hmm.
Is Orange Cassidy gonna be the one to dethrone Pac? Because remember, what's his face? Ethan Page is going after that championship too. So are we gonna see like an Orange Cassidy Ethan Page feud? Why not? You know what? Why not? I haven't seen it before. Who knows what it can bring, right? So
Yep.
yeah, I'm interested in what's gonna happen.
Or is this just the continuing of the Orange Cassidy challenges for things but never wins?
It's
And then we
time
get
for
the
Orange Cassidy to win something, man. Like I'm so sick and tired of this poor guy losing. He's so
I
good and
know.
he's so funny and he
Yep.
never breaks character. So yeah,
I
he needs to.
I want him with a belt so bad.
Yes.
Like seriously, I want him with a belt so bad.
I just want to see how he carries it.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what he won't be doing with the belt? Scissoring it.
That's true.
Yeah.
He may walk out without the belt and be like, oh, and then walk back and get it because he
Yes,
forgot
that's
it,
true.
right?
Yep. And an Ethan Page Orange Cassidy feud, yeah, that would be fine. Those
Yeah,
would be some darn good matches. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I'd be down for that. So yeah, I'd be okay with them beating Pac. Um, let's see. Well, apparently, Athena has had her apple a day to keep the DMD away, and Toni says Britt is useless, and that's demonstrated by the fact that she needs to be a dentist on the weekends. Toni, someone who can be the dentist on the weekends
I
and
know.
top the AEW women's division. Yeah, you only wish you were that good. So Deeb and Baker, who I would like to point out, we have the highly educated team of a professor and doctor taking on Toni Storm and Athena.
Yep.
Baker probably gets the best reaction out of the four of them. I would say a close second was Deeb. Athena comes out with her Meccano wings. Storm early on with a body slam into a springboard splash by Athena onto Deeb. Athena then gets knees to the face in a codebreaker like move.
That was
But
pretty
Baker,
cool.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was pretty cool. She did kind of like almost like a kind of a fireman's carry into the knees.
And then she spiked it. I was like, wow, that was impressive.
Yeah, it was a cool move. Baker then gets a distraction, allowing Deeb to take out Athena's leg, and they go to work on her leg for the commercial. We come back though to Athena making a hot tag. Storm, of course, goes for the hip attack, but Deeb pulls Baker out. Storm DDT, of course, to Deeb outside.
Course, yeah.
Baker the sling blade to Storm. Deeb counters a leap by Athena into a Juji Gatami, and a really cool counter. I mean, Deeb took her out of a leap into an arm, like the arm move. Deeb tries a roll through, but Athena counters it into a Meteora, which looked darn good too. Storm goes off the top, but Deeb gets her right into a single leg crab. There's a jackknife by Deeb that's broken up by Athena. The Deeb tox gets blocked, but Rebel distracts the ref. Baker grabs a chair. Deeb smashes Storm into the chair, and Deeb rolls her up for 3.
For the win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Athena gets pretty pissed off though after the match. There's an after the match attack, but Baker curb stomps Athena down. Jamie Hayter comes running out. She has a chair. Looks like she's going to, go at the. She takes the chair from Britt Baker. Looks like she's going to go at them, but instead she destroys Toni Storm with the chair, but then tosses the chair down, yells at Baker, and leaves.
Yeah. You know what? Not a bad match. Not a bad match at all. Like the matches tonight were pretty good. And I give credit to all the women in the ring. Look what happens when you put Serena Deeb and Britt Baker in a ring together with people who, haven't been that good recently, or in Toni Storm's case, ever since I've seen her. But like, look at Athena. Look how great she looked tonight, right? She looked really impressive.
That is her. I mean, I think that she is supposed to be good.
Yeah.
And she's clearly got a decent move set and pulled off some of that tonight.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. Again, of course, Toni Storm did her 3 moves, and guess what? Hey, when you have 3 moves, you're gonna pay for it. Yeah, they spent so long setting up that chair, just smash her face into it, and then the chair gets kind of stuck, and like the referee turns around, they barely just drop it on the side. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But no, overall, I enjoyed this match. I like, given the people that were in it, given the botches that could have taken place, I didn't really see anything, right? Like nothing glaring at me. So I'm gonna have to give the women's division an applause tonight. And again, I'm gonna point out who we had in the ring here, right? Like out of the 4, you probably had one person who was the least experienced, and again, you saw her moveset. And that was it. And you saw how good Serena Deeb is, as usual. She got to shine tonight, I would say, even more than Britt, right? Because she was in the ring for the most of the fight. So the whole thing at the ending with Jamie, I actually do think Jamie's gonna beat Toni for that belt, and it's gonna start the Britt Baker feud. I think Britt's gonna turn on her, because remember, Britt's like, I'm at the end of the match, I'm sorry, I told you I'm sorry so many times, right? I think Jamie's gonna win that belt, and Britt is gonna snap and just go full heel. So that's gonna be weird seeing Jamie Hayter as a face, but hey, it's all good. Like, again, good match, really good match tonight.
Yep, 100%. No, I couldn't agree more. For all the reasons you said, I love Serena Deeb. So yeah, it was great. It was great, and I mean, she's just so good in the ring.
She's so good, yeah.
And she has her fans. It was definitely let's go Toni, let's go Deeb chant going back and forth for a bit too. So yeah, that's always interesting, right? The fans clearly like Deeb as well.
Yeah.
Did you know Josh Woods is going to fight Samoa Joe on Rampage?
So I saw this promo and I was like, who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares?
Right. Because then we go on to the main event of the night, which they had nearly half an hour for. It was only 23 minutes left in the show or something. So we have Chris Jericho, the Wizard. I always have to emphasize which version of Jericho we're getting. So tonight we have the Wizard versus Bryan Danielson. I would like to point out that I am now once again okay with the Judas sing-along. I've decided it is the song that unites us all.
Oh, by the way, just so you know, since you brought it up, I was watching season 5 of Stranger Things. I was watching season 5 of Cobra Kai,
I didn't bring
and
up Cobra Kai.
I'm just saying you brought up Judas, however, and the guy in the show starts singing a song, and I'm like, what is he singing? And he kept saying, I become, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, is he singing Judas? And he walks into his apartment, and he's like, Judas, and he starts singing Judas in my mind. I was like, oh my god, even Cobra Kai is singing Judas now. So there you go. There you go. But it's funny because he was the Judas of the show. Anyways,
Right.
continue.
Right. And it is the song that unites us all. So unlike Bryan Danielson's music, which sucks.
Yeah, now I can't look at it the same.
I
Ever
know.
since that guy, all I
Yep.
think is that guy. First of all, that guy looks like MGK, the guy that is dating Megan Fox, right?
Oh,
He's like,
Machine Gun
yeah,
Kelly.
he looks like me. He looks exactly like
He
Machine Gun Kelly, but
does.
he's
You're
not,
right. And now I'm
right?
never gonna
So
be able to
so all
unsee that
so all
either.
I see is Machine Gun Kelly singing that part, and
Shirtless.
I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Anyways,
Yeah.
song sucks.
Song sucks. Fortunately, that was no reflection on this match. So they
No,
note at the beginning to add to the story that Bryan Danielson has never defeated Chris Jericho in his career.
I missed that. Oh my goodness, I totally missed that.
Yep. So they set it up
Oh.
with that. Danielson comes out flying, kicks, chops, drop kicks. I mean, it's just this insane flurry all over the ring. Garcia is watching backstage with the side view to the TV, of course. Danielson drop kick through the ropes, followed by a running knee off the apron to the outside. He throws Jericho's shoulder into the ring post twice, and William Regal says that's our game plan. He's softening up the arm for the label lock. You get a diving headbutt by Danielson in the ring again for 2. Knee strikes into an arm trapped in a hammerlock. I love stuff like that. Jericho, though, lands a German out of the yes kicks, a springboard drop kick and a springboard dive. He gets a lion salt on Danielson for 2. But then Jericho does a dive, like a running dive, and runs right into the ring post on the same arm, but manages to get a Hurricane Rana off the top rope on Danielson. But on the pin attempt, Danielson reverses into cattle mutilation. Jericho counters the hammer and anvil elbows into his own, but Danielson stares at the title and gets to his feet as the elbows are raining down on him. There's a chop exchange, but that ends in a code breaker out of nowhere. Danielson bounces back and hits the Busaiku knee. Just, it was a crazy scene. It was the codebreaker hits Danielson, who bounces back into the turnbuckle, comes flying back with the knee. Both of them are down in the ring, and there's a fight forever chant, which, I've got to say at this point, I mean, I've covered this first part in a few moments. There was so much going on
Yep.
in that I left out, but these were the highlights. Jericho suplexes Danielson to the outside. At this point, Danielson rolls his ankle. I mean, it looked like he landed terribly, right? Like, I actually was like, whoa. They called the doctors out, but then I saw the look on Jericho's face in the ring, and I'm like, okay, no, this is work. This is part of the match. Jericho gets out of the ring and attacks the ankle, and this is the story for the rest of the match. That ankle smashes it into the ring post repeatedly. Figure 4 around the ring post. Danielson has a brief comeback. He does this hop across the ring at Jericho, and Jericho just kind of dodges and locks the walls on him. And he starts yelling, classic Jericho, ask him, ask him. Jericho converts it into a single leg grab to focus more on the injured leg. Danielson looks towards the title again. That was funny because he did that look toward the title, and then Aubrey maneuvers in between him and the title. I'm like, what? So looks at the title again, digs in, and tries for the ropes. But Jericho manages to drag him back to the center and puts a spinning toe hold on him. Danielson counters that into a roll up for 2, but then Jericho gets a dragon screw into a figure 4. All of this is just work on that ankle, right? This is the classic Danielson underdog story. He's just like, he's on his last leg, and no pun intended. Jericho pounds on the ankle with his leg. They punch at each other in the hold. He gets like a figure 4 locked on. He's pounding on the ankle. They're punching away at each other in the hold. Danielson grabs his arm, though, and then smashes his head, manages to roll Jericho over into a label lock, and it's just wrenching on his head. The crowd goes absolutely nuts. They were loud at this point. And then Jericho taps. And my favorite shot, they go in the back, and Garcia has this like,
He's like,
aha, see
yeah,
that?
thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up. He gives his approval to the match. And after the match, Moxley comes out. There's a BBC chant in the crowd, and he and Danielson shake because they will be facing each other next week. What did you think of this match?
Um, I think I'm ready to see Bryan Danielson as the champ. I think I'm ready. I think this is a really really well told kind of story. And the match itself was great. Like this is the Chris Jericho I like seeing now. This is like he was nonstop. Like him, well, not him, only him and Danielson were nonstop, right? No wrestles. Like I was so sick and tired of like Lionheart Jericho because I didn't understand what he was doing. But like this was Jericho I like to see. So this is a back and forth and the focus on the ankle. Now I'm wondering, is this going to play a factor into next week's match, right? Now, does he barely survive Moxley and he beats Moxley, but still his ankle is damaged. He gets the win. But then what happens? Are we going to see MJF? Because are they treating the Casino Battle Royale chip as like a Money in the Bank thing now? Is that how they're treating it? Can you cash it in at any point?
There's kind of a hint you could, but they haven't really treated it like that in the past.
Exactly.
It's been a lot more like a, you get to sign for a match.
I guess. Okay.
Right?
So yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for next week because yeah, it's Bryan Danielson. If anyone deserves the belt right now, this is just a guy who just tries to go out and have a good wrestling match. He doesn't even seem like the person who like gets into arguments with people or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, guys, yeah, I'll just love wrestling. That's it. Like I'll go out and wrestle, right? So I'm Moxley or Danielson, either person, though I think Moxley needs a break. Moxley Danielson, I don't care who wins next week. We're gonna have a really good champion.
Yep. No, I agree completely. This match, my match of the night, obviously. You
Obviously.
called it. Yeah, you knew I'd be picking this. I said at the beginning that this could be a dark horse match of the night if both guys were on. My God, were both guys
Mm-hmm.
on. You had the story that was sitting over the whole match. He's never beaten Chris Jericho, right? And he wants that title. Those little glances he gave towards the belt to help pull him out of stuff was just like, that's all that's on his mind. He wants
Yeah.
that belt. He hasn't had that title yet. He wants that belt. Out of the three guys that were left, he's the only one that hadn't held the title yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jericho's had the belt. Mox has had the belt. Danielson's never had the belt.
Yeah.
So, he's staring at the belt to pull him out of the moves, right? And then, the whole thing, he's trying to get Jericho's arm softened, right? But, Jericho manages to get one up on him, works over that leg. I mean, that was just vicious. And you're right. This was a good Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps the pace at kind of a heel pace in his wrestling still, but he's still vicious and fast enough that it's not boring.
Yeah.
And then when he started to work that leg, it was just insane. It was like he is the man of 1,004 holds, and he went after that leg something awful. Like the innovation of taking his walls of Jericho and turning it into a single leg crab, because that
Yeah.
would be more damaging to that injured leg. I mean, that kind of stuff to me, that just speaks. You are brilliant in the ring. You know how to call a match beautifully. Thank you so much for a wonderful story, guys. I was all over this match. Great finish. Danielson plays the underdog
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
effectively, so effectively. And he's going injured into next week's match. And he's going to go in injured. And Mox is going to target the living hell out of that leg next week. And it is going to be one hell of a
Yeah.
wrestling match. They
Yeah.
better give that one a lot of time. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see these guys go at it for a long time. I do not want any Punk Mox BS. I want pure Danielson versus Moxley. I want these guys to kill each other next week. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's going to be awesome. And they shook hands. Yay.
They shook
And
hands. Yeah.
they did. And Garcia gave it the thumbs up. I mean, what better can you do than Daniel Garcia giving the thumbs up to the match? And
Yeah.
you know what I liked about that though? They're reminding us that Garcia is still sitting in the background of the whole Jericho Danielson
Exactly.
thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So no, I enjoyed this. Again, it was yeah, as I said, like a 1B,
Yep.
right? To my 1A, which was a Swerve in our glory match. But overall, the entire night, what a great show.
Yep.
What a great
Absolutely.
show.
Yep.
Right? Like Tony, remember, hey, Tony Khan, remember what he came out and said the next couple AEW next couple shows are it's going to be the best dynamites you guys have seen. And you know what? Maybe not the best dynamites we've ever seen, but like these shows have been really, really,
Yeah,
really
they
good.
really have.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, just another statement show.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Like,
absolutely.
like no one person controls this company. Well, except
No.
for Tony Khan, but no one wrestler controls this
Well,
company.
John Moxley did note it is his company.
Well, but you know what I mean. Like of all people, John Moxley, really. John Moxley, everyone knows, is like the nicest person in the entire world, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, great show
Yep.
tonight was a great show.
Yeah, and I mean, like, look at the guys who are out there and put on the good matches again. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
everybody put on good matches, but you had like, who can you turn to if you need a really spectacular tag match? Every single time, the Lucha Brothers,
Lucha
right?
Brothers,
They get called
exactly.
on over and over and over again in
Yeah,
AEW. Win or lose.
put respect on their name,
yep,
exactly.
yeah, 100%. They're one of my all-time favorite
Yeah,
tag teams, right?
yeah,
And they've earned that respect with match after match after
yep.
match, quality after quality after quality, right? It's like these guys never have a bad match
No,
ever.
no,
And
agreed.
Swerve in Our Glory, they've impressed the heck out of me. You look like just through this whole roster tonight that they put out there, even the women's match, like you said, good match, solid, enjoyed it, right?
Yeah,
There wasn't a bad thing on this card tonight. Even
yeah,
Stokely was
yeah.
better than bad, you
Than that,
know?
exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything on this card, MJF stepping up to a new level, I found, you know, we've got like a real title picture that looks fun, gonna have some good matches in it. It's engaging. It's really engaging. And this
Yeah.
is, you know, how awesome is it going to be when Kenny and the Bucks step back into this picture?
I can't even imagine. Like that's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like, wait, we're already at where we're at right now, which is 100 times better than WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to the next level.
Yeah. Precisely. And we know we have months and months and months before we even have to worry about whether or not CM Punk's coming back.
Oh,
So
exactly. Like,
it's great. Like
yeah.
we are gonna have almost weirdly, and this is the thing, right? This is the real thing. Coming out of adversity, coming out of like a bottom, shall we say, because maybe AEW hit a bottom the other day,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
they'd been flying along pretty well and they kind of got lost in a bit of their identity and stuff and worried a little too much about WWE, maybe a little too high off beating NXT, right? And too high off, we brought in WWE guys and they worked so well, so let's bring in 300 of them, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they got a little too hung up on that. Maybe they were a little drunk on their own glory, right? Well, they hit a bottom. But like Moxley, who, by the way, is the guy running with the ball right now in the
Mm-hmm.
company, like Moxley, they fought their demons.
Yeah.
And let's hope that what this is them coming out the other side, bigger, better, just like Mox did coming out of his recovery. So, maybe we're seeing AEW in recovery right now.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm gonna have to agree with that. That's exactly what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We're seeing what they do when there's adversity thrown at them. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And because they never really had to deal with much, right? At least we didn't know.
Right.
And I think this is like their first big test. How do
Yep.
you get out of this, right?
Yep. And look at the leaders stepping up, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Agreed.
So there you go. That was Dynamite. Any other thoughts?
No, just a great show. Just an absolutely great show.
Yep. Did anything reach the Omega level?
Anything reach the Omega level? Interesting.
See, I'm going to say that last match made the Omega level. That
Well, I was,
storytelling was
you
phenomenal.
know what? I was actually going to give credit to the entire show from what we were at 2 weeks ago to where
Mm-hmm.
we're at now. Like just the total 180 that this company has taken. I would actually give credit to everyone involved, right? Like this show was fantastic. Like think about it, we got the show for free today.
Mm-hmm.
And the matches they put on were probably better than some pay-per-view matches we've seen.
Well,
Right.
that's
So
true because we've had some rather bloated pay-per-views recently.
exactly. And matches we thought, what maybe this should have been on the pre-show kind of thing.
Or
No, these
Dynamite.
matches, yeah, or Dynamite or Dark.
Or Dark.
Right. But no, this entire show was great. So I'm gonna give credits for Tony Khan and his crew for getting to that Omega level show, and he promised us we were gonna get some really great shows, and he delivered.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go. I gave the last match the Omega level.
I'm
Krishna
giving it
gave the
everything.
whole show the
I'm
Omega
just giving
level.
everything.
That's right. Okay, so that about wraps up Dynamite. But before we go, it is time for our one phrase that summarizes the evening.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna go with like like whose house, Swerve's house, but I think in general, I just want to say that as we just talked about, when you hit rock bottom, there's only up from there, right? And I'm glad AEW is going up and not down. So I'm happy. You know what? I was really worried 2 weeks ago, and actually, I'm really calm now, and that's a good sign.
Yep. And that leads to my thought of the night, or my phrase to summarize the night.
Mm-hmm.
I've used it before, and I'm going to keep using it for a little while, I think. Just enjoy wrestling.
That's it. Just enjoy wrestling, and don't be that idiot in the front row with his Punk owns the Young Bucks. What a
No one
moron!
cares.
Like,
No one cares. Like,
yeah,
dude, just seriously go back to your mega rally, and we'll call it a day. Okay. But
yeah, but no,
seriously,
great show, great show.
just enjoy wrestling.
Just enjoy wrestling. That's
Yep.
it.
But
Any wrestling you want.
it's that time. And as the great one always says, goodbye, everybody, and good night. Bang.
Good night, everyone.